Out of Raleigh, North Carolina, just under an hour ago, a black man was reportedly found hanging from a tree. We are being hunted. Black people, hear me. We are being hunted. According to a developing report from Fighting Crime News and Who's Wanted, emergency crews were dispatched around 2:35 p.m. this afternoon to South McDowell Street, just south of Martin Street in downtown Raleigh. The report says that multiple callers described seeing a black male hanging from a tree, reportedly near a restaurant and a hotel. Emergency personnel were initially dispatched for what was classified as a code blue medical emergency. As of right now, the man's identity has not been publicly confirmed, and I have not found an official statement from Raleigh police explaining how they believe he died. We don't know yet whether investigators believe this was suicide, homicide, or something else. He was murdered. We don't know how long he was there. We don't know what surveillance cameras captured. We don't know whether anyone witnessed what happened before he was found. And considering this happened in the middle of downtown Raleigh, my hometown, those are questions that need answers. For every black American, the image of a black man hanging from a tree carries a horrific historical weight. It does. But that history is also why we need the facts and a complete investigation. I'm following this story closely. Who was this man and what happened to him before 2:35 p.m. this afternoon?
Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I'd like to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Racha Kwadash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson, and Lord willing is edifying to the elect. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well, the leaders of all Israelites in these end times, showing us the correct way to salvation. And shalom to the elect, whoever they may be, men, women, and children that may be watching lessons like these, getting edified through the spirit. All right. And so shalom to you, and shalom means peace be unto you. So in this lesson, I'm going to speak about how Jake is being hunted. Okay, Jake is short for Jacob, which you biblical Israelites, okay, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Now, lately, I've looked up, within the past 2 years, how many lynchings have taken place. But, obviously I didn't say lynchings because, majority, if not all of these lynchings are, ruled as suicides, which is, total BS. Jake is just being hunted, but people in power are in on it. Okay, and the scriptures even speak on this. Okay, which I'm going to bring out in this lesson, and Lord willing, you're edified. Okay, because, all this is happening with Esau's perpetual hatred toward Jacob. Okay, because that's what's really going on. So-called white man versus so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But all of this that's going on, is very much biblical, okay? And it's all building up to a boiling point where, the aggressor is gonna, he's gonna have his day, Lord willing, I'll do a lesson on that soon, because I actually have a few clips lined up that I want to speak on. Okay, so, Lord willing, I'll do that lesson soon. But this particular lynching here happened in North Carolina, in Raleigh, okay, where I used to live. I used to live there for about 2 years, in separate times, a year at one point, and then moved back to Goldsboro, and then back to Raleigh again for another year before I came back to the UK. And for this to happen in downtown Raleigh, cameras everywhere, it's normally quite a few people around and stuff. You wouldn't think that something like that would happen, or they'd be able to get away with it, in that area. But I've witnessed it, so this is why I say that. And I've been in downtown Raleigh quite a bit. Now, the police, I guarantee they're in on it for them to get away with something in a city center like that in downtown Raleigh. No, for them to get away with that, the police have to be in on it, man. And the thing is, I can believe that because I've had a few run-ins with the police in Raleigh, North Carolina. Not that not that I was a criminal or anything like that. It's just I've been harassed a lot by racist police in Raleigh, North Carolina. They are very, very crooked. Okay, I've been set up for drug dealing, which I wasn't a drug dealer, but I was set up and framed to look like a drug dealer. Okay, and this was by Raleigh PD, and I've had them pull up on me in hoopties, just sitting in a cut, and then they pull up in a hoopty deep, like packed like some Mexicans. You know what I mean? How they Issachar get down, but yeah, man, they rolled up on me, threw me against the hood of the car, set me up as a drug dealer, which I wasn't, and yeah, they stole my money. I was working a restaurant. I had a big wad of $1 bills. I mean, what kind of drug dealer carries $1 bills, man? And yeah, I just got off work. And yeah, so I know how they get down. They're dirty as hell. But anyway, that's enough rambling, as I like to do. But when I went on AI earlier, I asked about, so-called blacks and Hispanics being hung. And I didn't say lynchings because I know that, most cases of Jake being hung, they rule it as a suicide. Most, if not all cases, they rule it as a suicide because, the people in power are in on it and they're with it. And, we're against all odds. We're behind the enemy lines. Okay. We're in the land of our captivity, as the scripture stated, right? So when I asked AI, I said, what did I say? Let's go all the way to the top. How many black men have been reportedly found hanging from trees within the past 2 years, including black women? Now, it wasn't the right thing to ask, so I had to, restate my question, and then I put, where is it? I put including the ones that are ruled as suicide, because it didn't include the ones ruled as a suicide, which most of them are ruled suicide, right? So it says, I said, how many are the total hangings of black people and Hispanic people? I had to add that because I was curious, within the past 2 years in America. So it says a minimum of about 12 to 14 black people, right? And the reason it says minimum is also because of, the fact that, some of them are ruled suicides and stuff. But where did I want to start from? Let's just read this. Why this number is only a minimum. It says there is no federal database tracking hangings as a category. Every count comes from local police reports, media coverage, civil rights investigations, community compiled lists. It says many cases are immediately ruled suicides, and when families dispute the findings, and some cases never reach national news. Because of this, the true number is almost certainly higher. And it's because they find themselves not guilty. Let's go to that scripture real quick, okay? Because I haven't brought out scripture yet, but that's a good place to start. Let's bring that out real quick. Check this out. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 11, starting at 4. Thus saith Yahweh, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter. And that's what we do through these lessons, okay? Because the flock of the slaughter are you Israelites. So this is what we do. We feed you with the truth, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding of the scriptures, so that you know who your enemy is. Because if you don't know who your enemy is, you are a sitting duck. Okay, and we also are showing you the correct way to be delivered from this devil, man. Anyway, Zechariah 11, starting at 4. Thus saith the Lord, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, because we have been led as a flock to the slaughter, taken from the west coast of Africa against our will, and then brought to America and other places. We've been scattered in the earth, and we've been mistreated unto this day. Okay, so we are led as a flock to the slaughter. It says, whose possessors, right? Because the people that possess us are the nation of Edom, the biblical Edomites, which is you so-called white people, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they do that because, you know, they are the ones that are ruling the court system. They're the judge, they're the jury. You know, they're the ones in power. And, you know, they're not fair judges. They're not righteous judges. They judge based on, you know, how they feel, you know, so-called black people should be. They want you to be, if you're not squeaky clean and suit and tie, hair slick back like them type thing, you know what I mean? Then you're no good in their eyes. You know, you're no good at all anyway, but that's how they want you. They want you to conform to their ways, you know, be just like them. So, you know, when you're standing before that judge, they're just looking at you as a sack of doo-doo, you know. And then when you get shot, there's no remorse for you. When you get shot by the police, or when you get lynched or hung from a tree, you know, they know damn well that it was a murder, but they don't want that on record because Esau's big with numbers and stuff, and they like to pull out statistics that go in their favor and stuff like that. And these, you know, if it shows that we're being lynched and stuff, it's not a good look for them. So on record, they're gonna rule it suicide because it's a win-win for them. So whose possessors slay them. These are the people killing us, the ones that own us, the ones that rule over us, the so-called white man, which is the biblical nation of Edom, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they say, and they that sell them say, right? This is what the Edomites say. They say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. Right? Because they think that because they're on top and they're wealthy, they think that the Lord has blessed them. They think that the Lord is dealing with them, that the Lord is showing favor toward them because they haven't been judged for what they've done. And they seem to be riding off into the sunset. But the Lord got something cooking up for them. And that's what they don't understand. They're ignorant to that. But it reveals it all through the scriptures, man. We bring it out all the time. Let's read it. It says, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not. So the people that are supposed to be leading us to the truth, they don't have no remorse for us. The so-called black Christian church, you know, there's no help coming from them. Churches on every block in America, man, but no help coming from them at all. You know, their own shepherds, the people that are supposed to be our shepherds leading us to safety, they pity them not. Okay, they don't do lessons like we do. When do you see Christians up here, you know, revealing the wickedness against our people and bringing out the scriptures to reveal the problem and what and to give our people clarity as to what's going on and what we need to do? Christians ain't doing that. They pity us not, man. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, and starting at 10, it says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. And that's, you know, how Esau gets down. He doesn't pity the young, the crippled, the aged, the elderly. You know, you're just a dirty Nigger in his eyes, okay? Whether you're a child or anything, man. They don't have no mercy, and their track record is full of examples of them showing no mercy to the aged, to the young, to the sick. They don't care. They're absolutely merciless. So no mercy will be shown to them. Thus saith the Lord. Now, this is the thought of the Edomite that I'm reading here, okay? When you go into the book of Wisdom, Solomon, chapter 2, and you start in the first verse, it explains that, let's highlight that. It says, for the ungodly said, and the ungodly is the Edomite, the so-called white man. Okay. Predominantly the so-called white man, because you do have some that go back, their lineage goes back to our people. You can normally tell through the spirit. But anyway, for the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. And you can read the rest of that. But I just wanted to, read that a little bit, because all this is going into the thought of the Edomite. Okay. So verse 11, let our strength be the law of justice. So their strength is their court system, man. They hold themselves not guilty. You understand? The Bible is telling you what's going on. You just have to be wise enough to be able to paint that picture, get that picture, visualize that picture in your head. The picture becomes clear, as you go precept upon precept. That's how you get the understanding. Anyway, so it says in verse 11, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. So they call us feeble. You even got a famous quote from Margaret Sanger talking about calling us human weeds, and we got to rid the world of the feeble-minded. And they say that which is feeble, which is talking about our people, is found to be nothing worth. They view us as worthless, man. Okay, but they're going to be sadly mistaken in the very near future when they find out who they messed with. Because right now they look at us as worthless, like we bring no good to the earth. But the earth was actually created for the Israelites. It's just been given into the hands of the wicked, pursuant to Job 9:24. So the wicked are ruling the earth right now, okay, which is the so-called white man. So verse 12, it says, therefore let us wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. And the righteous is our people that are calling this devil out. Okay, we're standing and doing the true work of the Lord by calling this man the damn devil to his face. All right, which offends a lot of our weak-minded people, the weak of our people, man, the cowards. Therefore, let us lay in wait for the righteous. This is what they do. Okay, they lay in wait for us, man, especially the righteous of our people, because he is not for our turn. We're against their system and their way of life. We find it disgusting. It says, and he is clean, contrary to our doings. See, we don't celebrate their Christmas. We're not about eating shrimp, crab, lobster. We don't celebrate our birthdays, Valentine's Day, all of these pagan rituals and holidays that this devil pushes on our people. And they push it heavily, man. And they start with the children's cartoons and children's TV shows. They push it heavily. Everything's happy birthday. Everyone's Halloween. Everything. It's just ridiculous at this point, man. If you can't see what they're doing, brainwashing you into their way of life. So we are clean, contrary to their doings, it says. It says, he upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. Okay, so, we're always getting on about how these people are ungodly and they don't cleave to the law of the Lord. And we also, reveal that their education system is a fraud. It's everything, and their philosophies, their wine they push on the earth. It's all, it's all wickedness. It's all wrong. Okay, so this is what's going into. But anyway, that you can read on, because this is a really good chapter to read. But I'm not going to, because I got some other things I want to bring out. But anyway, let's read a bit more of this, and then I'm going to play a few more clips about some recent things that have been going down as far as us being hunted. So it says confirmed black cases between 2024 and 2026, which is 2 years, a 2-year span. It says across multiple independent sources, at least 12 to 14 black individuals have been publicly reported as found hanging outdoors in the past 2 years. This includes, notice it says found hanging outdoors. See, I asked total hangings, not just outdoors. Why does it say outdoors? Is there a significance about us being hung outdoors? Maybe that's a part of their sign to let you know that the clan did this. You know, just like they hang people from doorknobs or whatever, letting you know that it was you need to keep your mouth shut type thing. It's like maybe there's a message being sent. Who knows? So it says these cases appear constantly across multiple outlets. You got Trevante. I ain't gonna read all these names, man, because some of them are hard to pronounce. But you can, check out. You got these recent cases that have happened. So it says 2026, you have between a minimum of 6 to 7 cases. I don't know why it won't give me the actual. It's supposed to be AI, all intelligent and stuff. I don't know why it don't just dig up all the lynchings. Just get to the point, man. Quit beating around the bush. So you got more. It says they were most ruled suicides, as they do. They hold themselves not guilty. So it says, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and several others named across 20s. Okay, so you can read this for yourself. And then I was asking about Hispanic cases also, and it says no major news outlet, civil rights tracker, or compliant database provides a count of Hispanic individuals found hanging in public spaces in the past 2 years. Okay, so it's not happening on a large level among Hispanics, but they're catching hell in a different way. The Northern Kingdom, the Lord has a different judgment for them, because this is judgment. If you are found hanging from a tree, you're cursed, man. Let's bring that out. So this is Galatians 3:13. It says, the anointed have redeemed us from the curse of the law. Okay, when he shed his blood for us and died on that cross, he redeemed us from the curse of the law. So we no longer have to keep it to the T, because, now we acknowledge the law, but we're not, we have Yahushai sacrifice to save us from the curse of the law, okay, which is, to die, so now we acknowledge the law through the Lord. And, when we, walk that path, that righteous path, the Lord's blood covers us, basically, okay. So therefore we keep it to the best of our ability, the law. But, because we can't keep it perfect, we're not condemned to death, basically. Okay, so it says, the anointed have redeemed us from the curse of the law. It says, being made a curse for us. See? And why is that? It says, for it is written, cursed is every one that hangeth on a tree. Now, that's a whole nother lesson in itself, because the Lord didn't hang in a tree in the sense of being hung by a noose, because there is a doctrine going around where people say that, because the scriptures say, that the Lord hung on a tree, but it just means wood. It just means the cross. Okay. That's a whole nother lesson in itself. I mean, if anyone wants clarity on that and wants me to do a lesson on that, then just let me know in the comment board, because I wasn't thinking about doing it, but lately I've been trying to focus more on prophecy. But if someone wants, me to do a lesson on that and it could edify you, then just let me know. But anyway, so it says, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree. So, if you found hanging on by a noose, and we know the Lord didn't hang it that way, but, if you get hung from a tree, man, you're cursed. Okay. And that's what's happened to a lot of these people that, found hanging from trees, man. Okay, because no man perishes being innocent, as it states in Job 4:7. Okay, so if you perished being hanged from a tree, you wasn't innocent. The Lord had it out for you. Okay, but let's show you. I want to show you a recent thing that's happened. Okay, and excuse this lady's cleavage. Okay, because it's unavoidable. She bringing out a good video, but Eve likes to show off her body and all that. So check this out.
You see that trailer up there on the left? This happened this week, where a white man stopped a black man who was over over the road truck driver. He drives at night. He was out at 3 o'clock in the morning in Mississippi. He stopped him to ask him to help get his brother, who was stuck in the bathroom on that trailer, out of that trailer. I guess it sounded suspicious to the brother because he didn't bother to help him. And then maybe a few minutes later, he looked up, and that white man who asked for his help, the brother that was supposedly stuck in the bathroom, came out of that trailer, and they both were standing to the left of the trailer, to the dark side of the trailer, where nobody would have seen him if he got snatched. Trust and believe this brother just avoided getting lynched. I told you before in another video that I had posted about the black man that escaped the lynching in Delaware. He said the same thing. 2 white men approached him friendly, coming into the black neighborhood, pretending that they got certain issues and want to talk to you and things like that. I do believe that is how they're grabbing up a lot of our brothers. You understand? They play on our kindness. Everyone knows the heart of black people. We literally will help anyone, no matter who it is. But you got to be vigilant in these times that we're in right now, as they are lynching, as it appears, every other day. So don't fall for this, because this is definitely a play that they're trying by coming into our neighborhood. Oh no, not in their hoods, not in their Nazi stuff, not letting you know that they're the Klan, but coming into our neighborhoods pretending that they're in need of something. They need help, asking us questions. And once we stop or go to the dark side of the truck, then you're gone. Then you're in a tree. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Pass this around in our community. Please like and share so that everyone knows. We're way too friendly. Now, if you see them crackers in your neighborhood.
She made a point. She said to, be vigilant, and not just brought a scripture to mind, because you do need to be vigilant, man. You got to be very wary of these devils. Okay, because they are not your friend. The Bible describes them as your enemy. And I'm not saying that every single so-called white man is an Edomite, your enemy, because like I said earlier, you do have some whose line goes back to our people. But, you cannot, you just can't let your guard down, okay? If they appear to be an Edomite, just be cautious, okay? Because they probably, more than likely they are. But, they appear to be humble and kind and this and that, but as a nation they hate us, okay? There's just different levels of hate in each Edomite, okay? Some some are not so bad, they just kind of trying to live their life, don't know what's going on, and they just want to be friends with everybody. And then you have, majority of them, they have deep down hatred for you, and you're always on their mind, and they want to see you gone, okay? Because we're 2 totally opposite people, and we can't coincide with each other. But, unfortunately for them, they decided to take us for free labor to build up their kingdom, took us against their will, and now I think they're kind of regretting that, because now they're stuck with us, okay? We're being a thorn in their side. But anyway, they want to purge us out of existence. So let's bring out the scripture that I was meaning to jump to about being vigilant, man, because we got to be vigilant in these days, okay? Be very wary of these people, man. Don't get too close to them. Don't be in situations where it's just you and a bunch of so-called white people, man. That's never a good idea, okay? I don't know why anyone would want to put themselves in that situation anyway. You don't belong in that type of environment, man. Every man belongs with their own people, okay? This is 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. So, if you're a fool and you was like in the spirit of going, to helping everybody, man, at nighttime, 2 strange redneck looking, rough, murderous looking, evil white men, so-called white men, right? and you want to be a foolish enough to think, oh, happy-go-lucky, thinking everybody's your damn friend, unaware that you have enemies. They love the fact that you're unaware that they're your enemy. They know they're your enemy. You just don't know that. But the Bible identifies them clearly as your enemy. But if you want to be happy-go-lucky and going around just helping everybody, man, being oblivious to what's going on around you, not being able to read the room, so to speak, you know, because that's what our people suffer from big time, man. Just unable to just read the room, man. Wake up, Jake, man. Come on, man. These people are not your damn friend. Be sober-minded. Clarity. You gotta have a clear head. You gotta know what's going on, man. Be vigilant, you know, circumspect. You know, you gotta look around you, man. Be aware of what's going on, the climate of today's society. You gotta be aware of this, man. You don't have your head stuck up your butt, man. It says, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. He's constantly looking for opportunity to get you, Jakes, man. So don't give it to him, okay? Don't be a damn fool, man. Anyway, let's play the rest of this.
And they have questions. Leave them alone. Let them be. Don't go anywhere near them. Because they have a right, and they're going to allow them to do what they do. They're going to realize it's the Klan, and the police are going to be complicit. Probably is some off-duty officers. You just never know. So I'll tell you what. Stay vigilant. These crackers are crafty in our neighborhoods, pretending they need help, pretending they need directions, pretending they want to ask you a question.
Yeah, because the Bible described Esau as a cunning hunter, man. Let's go there real quick, actually. Genesis 25, let's just get to the point, starting at verse 24. And when her days, her meaning Rebekah, Isaac's wife, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled after the 9 months of pregnancy, which was a miracle pregnancy, because she was barren, her womb was barren, she wasn't supposed to give birth or have babies, okay? But then the Lord blessed her with twins. And it says here, behold, there were twins in her womb. So then she discovered that there was twins in her womb, just like the Lord had told her. Because the Lord said, 2 nations are in thy let's just start at verse 23, man. Genesis 25 and 23. And then Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. That's Jacob and Esau, the so-called white man and the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which have originally started out as so-called blacks. Okay. It says, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. This is why we can't get along in society together. We need segregation, man. Segregation is good for us because we're 2 total opposite people forced to coexist when it was never meant to be that way, because, you know, we were taken from our land beyond our will and forced to live among these people. We're led as a flock to the slaughter. It says, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people, 2 different types of people shall be what? Separated from thy bowels. It says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. I wonder who that is. It says, and the elder shall serve the younger. The elder was Esau. He came out first. Okay, so he's going to serve us. And we've been doing many lessons on this. They're going into slavery. Thus saith the Lord. Okay, so the result of all their wickedness is not good, okay? And they really think that they gonna get away with everything they done. Got another thing coming, man. Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. It says, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment. So Esau came out red, okay, because the blood shows forth through his skin. Okay, when they blush, they go red. When they get sunburnt, they go red. When they get embarrassed, they go red. When they get angry, they get hot, you know. It's because the blood shows through their skin. It was abnormal. Everyone's supposed to have melanin. Melanin is normal. Brown skin is normality. It says, you know, and the Edomite is a clean leper. Well, the so-called white man, should I say, is a clean leper. It says in verse 25, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, okay, which, you know, a hairy garment back then was this, red. It says, and they called his name Esau. It says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob, which is the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. It says, and Isaac was 80 old when she bare them. Verse 27 is the point. It says, and the boys grew. So this is when they grew into their characteristics, so you can identify them in the days we're living in now. And the boys grew. It says, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, meaning a man of the world, skydiving, rock climbing, all of that. It says, in Jacob, which is the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, was a plain man, just a common man dwelling in tents, meaning we like to chill. We just lay back, okay? We ain't into all that crazy stuff like Esau, man. They're just, you know. But the point is that Esau was a cunning hunter. This is why, you know, you got people that we call rednecks, which are Edomites. You know, they love to hunt. That's one of their big things they love to do, okay? It's in their characteristics. And the reason that that's part of their characteristics, or they would call their culture, is because, for one, they're evil. They like to hunt animals to damn near extinction, or if not extinction. And they do it for sport because they're just ungodly. They're cruel to animals. They're evil to beasts. And, you know, they're hunters because, you know, that's just what they were blessed with. They were a cunning hunter. That's their characteristic. And, you know, this is what they're doing in today's day and age when they're hunting down Jake, man. So this is why she said, let's run it back just slightly. Let's start it from here.
Leave them alone. Let them be. Don't go anywhere near them. Because they have a right, and they're going to allow them to do what they do. They're going to realize it's the Klan, and the police are going to be complicit. Probably is some off-duty officers. You just never know.
It is.
So I'll tell you what. Stay vigilant. These crackers are crafty in our neighborhoods, pretending they need.
See, they're crafty in our neighborhoods, pretending they need help, she said. That's a cunning hunter, a crafty hunter. Even the scriptures say that the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. It goes into Esau's nature when he's crafty. Okay, and another thing, you can't be ignorant of their devices. This is one of their devices, okay, to entrap you and cause you to fall, man, you know, by their trap, by their snare. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And this is just one of his many devices, okay? Because this was always talking about Esau, Edom. Anyway.
Help, pretending they need directions, pretending they want to ask you a question to try to overpower you, throw you in a trailer, a pickup truck. You know, they love the pickup trucks that's covered in the back. You know what I mean? They all make sure they have one. I believe this was always the reason. But I want you to be careful and just know they playing real dirty. And they are coming in our neighborhoods. But like I said, they coming in faking that kindness, that need help, that bullshit. Be aware.
Be aware. And that's why we do lessons like this, okay? Let's get a cleavage off the screen. I want to bring out a few precepts. First, we're going to go to a famous precept in the book of Sirach, otherwise known as Ecclesiasticus, or Ecclesiasticus, otherwise known as Sirach, should I say, 12 and 10. So this is Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So iron will rust. You can wipe it away, but eventually that rust gonna come back. This person, at times, he may appear to be not like they used to be. They're all right now. They've calmed down. But no, just watch them closely and you'll see there's still that same old devil. That wickedness sometimes just goes a bit dormant. That's all. Okay, but they're still the same people, still capable of what they did in the past, you know, and still will do what they did in the past and worse in the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, and they also are gagging to get you Jakes back in slavery. Okay, so never trust your enemy. Okay, the Bible is warning you, never trust your enemy. How do we know that the Edomite is our enemy? Let's jump back to the but we're going to jump first to the book of Nehemiah, chapter 9 and 5, I believe it is. It's 5 and 9, isn't it? Yeah, let's highlight that. So Nehemiah 5 and 9, it says, also I said it is not good that ye do. Ought ye not to walk in the fear of our power because of the reproach of the heathen, our enemies? See, the Bible is calling the heathen our enemies. Okay, so that's the number one enemy out of the heathen is the Edomite. Okay, let's quickly prove that. So the heathen are clearly described as our enemy. Okay, now I wanted to turn to Psalms 83 because this also describes who our enemy is, right? Let's start at verse 1. Psalms 83 and 1. Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, a tumultuous noise. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So the ones that hate the Lord and his people, and the ones that are described as the enemies of us and the Most High, it says that they've lifted up their head in pride. It says in verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, the Israelites, because Esau is crafty, and consulted against thine hidden ones. So this is what they do in their secret meetings, okay, and in Bilderberg meetings that they have and stuff like that. They're always plotting on how to get rid of us, how to take care of the problem that they have. So it says, they have said, come, in verse 4, it says, they have come and said, let us cut them off from being a nation, right? That's why you're labeled something new every year. Black, colored, Negro, African American, right? But now we're being known again as the nation of Israel, okay? So they took crafty counsel, all came together in agreement to make sure that we don't know who the real chosen people are. And now it's all coming out that those aren't the real people and that we are. And now it's almost over for Esau Edom, because the Bible said when that happens, it's over for them. So it says, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, right? So we're not a nation, we're just black in their eyes. It says that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So they don't want the world knowing that we're the Israelites. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They're all in league together on this, man. They're all in agreement. They are confederate against thee. And it describes, it's going to go ahead and describe, the nations that are involved. And it says the tabernacles of Edom. Edom is number one, which is the so-called white man, the Edomites, our evil twin brother. It says, and the Ishmaelites, which are the Arabs of Moab, the Moabites, which are the so-called Chinese, and it says in the Hagarenes. So it goes on, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek and da-da-da, but number one being the tabernacles of Edom. So number one enemy, okay? Now, if that wasn't good enough for you, let's quickly turn to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68 and describe how we got here, led as a flock to the slaughter, to the Americas, man, and everywhere else where we've been scattered. It says, and Yahweh, Deuteronomy 28:68, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt. Egypt representing America. America is spiritual Sodom and Egypt. And Egypt also represents bondage, the house of bondage. It says, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt, slavery, again with ships. Who are the only nation of people that went into slavery on ships? It's you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You went into slavery on slave ships, not these devils, okay? You had a few indentured servants, but that's not, that don't count. Trust me, that don't count. It says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. So wherever we were sold as slaves, we were sold to what the Bible calls our enemies. And if you don't know this, you're already losing, man. It says, ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, meaning slave man and slave woman, and no man shall buy you, meaning no man will redeem you from this curse. That's all it means, because people were buying slaves left, right, and center. Okay, so yeah, man, I've proven with scripture who your enemy is. And let's get back to Sirach 12 and 10, because it says, never trust thine enemy, for like iron rusteth, so is his wicked. So never trust these devils, man. I don't care how nice they are to you or anything. And it's going to say that in verse 11. It says, though he humble himself, right? Come on, nice or buddy. Yeah, I got my niece dates a black fella. You know, things they like to always say. Though he humble himself and go crouching, right, as they do, because they're cowards. Never say the N-word to your face. Always behind a computer screen, or if they're in a distance and can run away, or if they got a group with them. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. See? So just like that woman said at the end of the clip, right? She said to basically watch out for these devils, man. Okay. Beware of him. It says, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. Okay, so you're going to see them clear, just like wiping a looking glass. Like you take your glasses and you give them a good clean, man. Them things looking crispy and new again. You're going to see clearly that this is that same old devil, man. It says, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. You're going to know that this man still has it in him to be that dirty old devil that they have a history of being, man. You'll know that they ain't changed. In the Bible, there's many scriptures that speak about how these people never change, man. They're accustomed to doing evil, and that's all they know. And that's all they'll ever know. There's no rehabilitating them. So Sirach 12 and 12, set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, because they will. You know, you can't set them too close to you, because they're not in the spirit of letting you be better than them, or you know, because we would naturally become better than them, you know, because we are better than them. And the only reason they're above us is because they stole and murdered their way to the top. Right? But it says, set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. They'll take your seat because they're jealous of you, man. It says, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at last remember my words and be pricked therewith. So you're going to be like, damn, I should have listened. The Lord warned me about them. Told me not to get too close to them, because they can't be trusted. Verse 13, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh near wild beasts? So we don't pity you when we warned you that this man was a venomous snake and he is going to bite you, because that's what snakes do. Okay, so don't be letting these people too close to you, man, because they don't have good intentions. Okay, Muhammad Ali said it best. Let's bring this out real quick.
He says the American devils, the lynching, the killing, cutting the black people's private out, sticking it in the mouth, is what they did to us. Got a book called 100 Years of Lynching, written by white men. Taking black women who was 4 months pregnant, they took us for years and hung us up at the feet and stuck a dagger in the stomach and ripped it and pulled the unborn baby out just to put fear in other slaves. They tied up black people to horses, and 2 horses, and pulled his arms out and pulled his legs out. Lemonade trains with white children and white people of America used to come and watch him tie up 10 or 15 black men and pour gasoline on them and burn them, watch them burn alive. They took us and hung us up with trees and shot us with bullets. They took and cut a hand off and gave it to the little boy and they took the leg off. And this is worse than the devil.
All right, but...
see, the devil, the preacher in the church taught us that the devil was up under the ground.
Right.
And he'll wait till he died before he burn us up. This...
Yeah, because they're teaching you lies, man. The devil was always right under your nose. The scriptures even said, then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which is the prophets, when we bring out these lessons and bring out all the facts and dig up this man's history in his dirt. Okay, and we reveal him as the Edomite. We're consuming him. And the Lord said he'll destroy him with the brightness of his coming. Okay. Which is the day of the Lord, when the Lord has vengeance upon our enemies.
White devil in America was worse because he burned us while we was alive. He didn't wait till we died. So what I'm trying to say is the deeds and the works.
Do you believe that every white man is a devil? I mean, Angelo Dundee, Harold Conley?
Angelo Dundee's Italian. He's got a lot of... He's
Yeah, man, a lot of them Italians are Israelites, you know. I wouldn't say all of them, but, you know, you do have a lot of our people over there, man, because that's, you know, our people were scattered to that region. The northern tribes were scattered to that region, man. You know, the first slave ships landed in Tarshish, which is in Spain, near Italy. So they were all in that area, okay? So that's why he made that statement. But, you know, you heard the Edomite, which appears to be an Edomite, should I say, because we don't judge by appearance, but you know what I mean. This man that was next to Muhammad Ali said, what about this guy over here? What about this guy over here? And that's a case of them crouching and humbling themselves. You still got to be wary of them. And Muhammad Ali's about to break it down, okay? This is the reason I wanted to play this clip. He's going to get to the point in just a second. Check this out, man. He makes a good point.
You must remember, you have not lynched me. It wasn't the Germans that did this to us. It wasn't the white Canadians who's right on our border. He put emphasis on the American devils. He's missioned to America by God to preach the truth. So what I'm saying, let's say we got one white fella in America who has proved that he means right. Let's say we got another one. White people have died in demonstrations for black people. Now, here's the position I'm in. Here's 10,000 whites coming to kill me. And in those 10,000, let's say here's 10,000 rattlesnakes coming to bite me. And in those 10,000, there was 1,000 that didn't mean no harm. And I knew there was a good 1,000 snakes out there, but they all look alike. Now, what should I do? Should I keep the door open and let the 10,000 in, hoping that the 1,000 will unite and save me and one bite will kill me? Or should I just be safe and shut the door? So we have white people say, I mean right. I have a black husband. Oh, my children are black. I love everybody. I really believe you. But I'm sorry, man, there's 10 more thousand behind you that don't feel that way. I'm just sorry, but what am I going to do?
You know? Exactly what the scriptures is saying. Never, Sirach 12 and 10, never trust thine enemy, man. Even if they appear to look like your enemy, be very cautious of them, man. It says, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Okay? Watch him, man, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Understand the magnitude of that scripture because it fits perfectly with that clip that I just played, man. You know, you got 1,000 Edomites or 1,000 so-called white people, right? And some of them are our people, but hey, at the end of the day, man, we can't take no chances. We got to treat you all like Edomites. Not when it comes to this gospel, though. Okay, let me make that very clear. We teach the gospel to people that look like Edomites to fish out the ones that are our people that this gospel resonates with their spirit, because this is a very spiritual book, and it only resonates with particular spirits. That's why Edomites can never walk in our shoes, because they don't see things through our lenses. They don't see the world through our eyes. They see it in their own way. So therefore the Bible is not gonna, it's not gonna resonate with their spirit. So let's go to Sirach chapter 6, and we're gonna read verse 13. It says, "Separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed of thy friends." Okay, so be very sober and vigilant. But the Bible is specifically telling you to separate from your enemies. And I've already made it clear in this lesson that, your enemy is the so-called white man and these heathen. Okay, you're not supposed to be cleaving to these people like Nolan Wells, or going on an island with these devils, man. Man went on an Epstein island with his enemies, man. How stupid can you be? Anything goes when you're with your enemies, man. Okay, I've got many examples of why you shouldn't trust your enemy. Okay, in fact, there's a clip I wasn't even going to bring out in this lesson, but I want to just quickly show you what these devils are up to all the time when it comes to you so-called blacks. Never trust these people, man. Because when you find yourself being the only so-called black person in the room with these devils, you can guarantee that they are going to do some dirty stuff to you, man. Check this out.
Are taking
Pick that up!
So for context, this so-called black girl,
Stinks. Oh my god.
Salaki, I don't know what happened there. For context, this so-called black girl got drunk, heavily drunk, passed out, and then this is what her white buddies that she was with, so-called white, did to her while she was unconscious, man. And I hope YouTube doesn't, take this video down for this content here.
Come on, bitch, wake the fuck up. Damn. Please hurry everything. Oh my fucking god. Wake the fuck up, yo. I've never met you, but I don't like this.
Look, now they got her in their den in privacy. That's why you can't be going to islands and secret places with these people, because that's where they get the ideas of murdering you, man.
Fucking bleeding out.
You had an Edomite the other day. He was walking with his wife, his Israelite wife Eve, and he when they got to this secluded spot, he didn't know that she was recording, and he said, this is where I kill you or something like that. And then he saw a recording, and was like, no, I was just playing or something like that. I was like, man, you can't trust these devils, because even if he was playing, that's what goes through their head when they get in secret places with you, man. They start thinking evil thoughts.
This is gonna kill you. Huh? This is where I was gonna kill you.
Is it? Is it? Yeah.
Ma'am, you are in a wooded area, in an unknown area, that you have no idea where you're at. He is leading you on the trail. He is running far ahead of you. Y'all don't learn. Y'all don't learn. Y'all are too quick to want to end up in these documentaries, and I don't see or understand why. Now, what did he mean by that? What did he mean by that comment? I'm a firm believer, and if you say something out loud, there's a lot, especially when it comes to something like that, when it comes to like harming, so you mean it. And to be fair, he only said he was joking once he recognized us were recording. So what does that really tell you? And the fact that you're still with him after he made that joke, okay?
Because you know they'll do all kind of effery when they know people ain't watching.
Come
on, your eyes are out, bitch. Get the fuck out. Your eyes are out.
I ain't gonna play the rest. They kick her in the head and they kick her in the head and all sorts. All right, Salakia, I had a brief interruption. Let's continue and finish this off. So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 3. It says, "A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished." So a prudent man is a wise man, a vigilant man, a man that looks around, you know, a man sober and vigilant like the scriptures said, okay? And a type of man like that will foresee the evil, okay? And this applies to women also. They'll see, you know, danger ahead. They'll understand the warning signs, the red flags. They'll see the evil that's coming. You know, in this case, you know, two so-called white men, you know, trying to get Jake to give them a hand so that they can string them up, let's just say, right? Strange fruit them. So a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. You know, they'll peep the game. You know, they won't be ignorant to Satan's devices, so to speak. And then they'll act accordingly. They'll hide themselves. They'll do what they got to do to get away from that situation, man. It says, "But the simple pass on and are punished." So the ones that get hung from trees are cursed, man, because they're simple people. All right. They Jake has a problem with not reading the room, like I said earlier, man. Now Esau, you know, the scriptures say how he kept his wrath forever, meaning even to this day, you know, they still have that ancient hatred for us, which goes back to the story of Jacob and Esau, like I brought out earlier. So let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 27, and I forget which scripture it was, 27 and 41, right? Genesis 27 and 41. Let's get straight to the point. You can read all of this, you know, starting about, you know, 24. You can read all of that. It goes into how, you know, the blessing was given to Jacob. The birthright was given to Jacob because Esau sold it. And Jacob was butthurt. I mean, Esau was butthurt about it, you know, and felt like he was did wrong. And this is his response in verse 41, Genesis 27:41. It says, "And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart," meaning his mind, you know, and this is still carries on with them in their DNA to this day, man. Okay, it's an ancient hatred that even them themselves can't explain. They just hate us. And this is the reason why it all goes back to this. It says, "And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob." So even to this day, you know, our possessors slay us and hold themselves not guilty. It's all a part of Esau's promise to himself, is that he was going to slay us, okay? And the thing is, they never let go of that ancient hatred toward us. Let's turn to the book of Amos, chapter 1 and verse 11. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof." So the Lord is not, you know, you Edomites are not going to get out of the punishment, okay, that the Lord has lined up for you. It says, "Because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did terror perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. See? So it didn't end back in the days with the original Jacob and Esau. No. Okay? Because people will deceive you into thinking, oh, they made friends, they united. No, they didn't. Jacob, acted wisely because he knew that his brother was a violent man and seeking to kill him. So he had to act wisely in that situation, man. When they, when they hugged and all that, and they wept together or whatever, that don't mean that they're friends now and everything's fine. No, they got that. They kept their wrath forever, man. His anger did tear perpetually, forever. That means never ending. So that's what's happening to this day. That's why it puts, that's why, everything going on today is all, documented in the Bible. It's all biblical, man. And this man kept his wrath forever. Okay, so anyway, I wanna leave that there. I could go into the judgments that the Lord has lined up for these devils for the things that they've been doing to us. But in a nutshell, Jake is being hunted. Anyway, I'm going to close it out here. And Lord willing, you've been edified by this lesson. I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah, Kodash. All right, Shalom.